Well, thought I'd have another story time because now the internet's down with this weird storm that has passed by, although it's perfectly clear at the moment. So I can't do my homework on the internet. Do you remember the H1N1? I won't say the word, but the H1N1 illness. I can't Google when that was, and I can't remember exactly myself, but it was 15 or more years ago. I was living in a bizarre place. It was a big double wide trailer. I had hydro, water, everything. But it was on 70 acres, and it had originally been the workers to support the farm next door. That wasn't a farm anymore. And it was really unique in the sense it had no address. There was no emergency number, no mailbox. It never had an address. And the landlord wanted me to keep the big gates closed when I was at home or not. Not locked, but looking closed, so nobody comes poking in. The job I had entailed such that I had Sundays and Mondays off, and if I didn't show up for a couple of days without calling in, that wasn't an issue. And so Sunday night, it was in the summer, although I'm not quite sure whether it was spring or fall. It was a bit cool, but Sunday evening, I've done my shopping, my larder's stocked, I'm having my barbecue. A friend came in, had a beer with me passing by. He left, I had my barbecue dinner. I went off to bed. And I woke up in the wee hours of the morning. I couldn't breathe. And so I get in a steamy shower and managed to get gasping some air again. And I had two channels on the antenna of the TV or something. And the headlines in the news were, because I'd get up, I'd throw some wood in the wood stove after the shower thing, make a pot of tea, maybe nibble a cookie or something. And I'm turning on the TV and it says, if you have any of these symptoms, call an ambulance. I had them all. But, it was just, I'd be conscious about 10 minutes 20 minutes with the shower, about every 6 hours. And it went on for 4 days. And none of my buddies just happened to drop by over that course of time. It's not unusual. I don't have a large social circle. And this pattern would repeat every 6 hours or so. I'd wake up, I couldn't breathe. I'd have the steamy shower, I'd have my cup of tea, I'd watch the TV, same thing, call an ambulance. How am I going to call an ambulance? So I think it was the fourth night, it was the middle of the night I woke up, and the steamy shower didn't help. I still couldn't breathe. So I thought, okay, I got my cell phone plugged in the kitchen. I better go phone my buddy Jeff. Because how am I going to call an ambulance? They're not going to find me. The cabs couldn't find me. The pizzas couldn't find me. Nobody could find me. They don't have an address. I went down on the floor. I'd come out of the shower. Couldn't catch my breath. Set a blanket wrapped around me, and as I'm heading for the phone to phone Jeff, I went down on the floor. I couldn't make it. I remember it quite well. I was looking at the crack of the door. I'd made it to the door and not another 10 feet to the counter to the phone. I was lying there looking at the crack of the door, and I was thinking, I always hoped I could crawl out into the bush and die. I can't even get to the door and crawl out into the driveway. Wow. And oddly enough, it might sound like you're not going to believe me, but I really didn't care. I was like, I've come to my end. My last thought was, poor Jeff's going to find me here on the floor. And that was it. So I woke up the next day. It was daylight. I'm soaked in sweat. I'm frozen. I'm lying on the floor. And I felt fantastic. I was like, get another dry blanket, get the wood stove going, put the kettle on. Felt like $1 million. I was ravenous. As quick and as fast as that. If you remember the H1N1, and I have to coach my terms here, the censorship, I guess I can get away with saying the mortality rate was a lot higher than this last 2 years of BS. Although its contagion rate, I guess, wasn't nearly the same. And I don't really have a point in the story other than this last 2 years. I mean, you look at the statistics, and again, I'm pushing things here. The math doesn't add up. And now we have a new one coming, apparently. So Dr. Tam says. Yeah, okay.